There we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
All right, hold on. We're going to start over in 3, 2, and you're live.
Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome to the Saturday evening GameOnDaily live stream, and we're live. So sorry for my crazy fumble there at the beginning. Today is going to be an insane show. We've got even more insane guests, and before we go into introduce the guests, let me quickly introduce ourselves. If this is the first time you're joining us, I'm Gaz, co-owner of GameOnDaily, and the other co-owner of GameOnDaily is Asa Walker, who is making sure this runs smoothly. How are you doing, Asa?
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm looking at the display of the cameras that we've just been playing with, and I've just realised I've made myself look shorter than everybody else. So I've got a little bit of adjusting to do, but that's fine. I'm good. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a sick one. And yeah, so this week's been a mad week as the run up to launch. You know, launch gets closer and closer. But what great panel we've got here today, and it's going to be so saucy. So let me just go into the guests. This guy, oh my God, Destiny was not letting us come together. He was supposed to come on with me and King David. Our stream screwed up, but now he's here. The good doctor, Moeqawama. How are you doing, sir?
What's up, man? How you guys doing? I hope everybody's well. Thanks for having me on, man. Finally, it worked.
Yes, it did. Thank
Worked.
you. Yeah, it's not over yet, so just
yeah.
And the next guy, my God, I'm really excited to announce this guy. Hey, you've never seen someone like this on stream before. He's the fucking geezer. He is the one, the real boy from Essex. Darge Knight. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. We've tried a couple of times and it ain't worked out, but yeah, happy to be here and got some good topics to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this is going to be a sick one. The next chap, he's the Polish sensation. I've been on his show, Madz. He is known as the veteran in this space now. Madz, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Really glad to be here. You know, I've seen the agenda, so a couple of very interesting topics to talk about. So I can't wait to get into that. So thanks a lot for having me again, and a great panel, of course, like with the guests and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a fun show. And let me fix that light behind me because it's screwing up the camera.
It looks all right to us, but yeah, no, go ahead.
All right, okay.
And last but not least, oh man, this guy. Oh, you know who he is. This is one of the most prominent influencers in the Xbox space. The guy who looks remarkably like his avatar, and the guy with the tick. I mean, the verified tick, not a physical tick. Colteastwood, everyone. How are you doing?
Really good. Yeah, thanks for having me on. This is going to be fun, and it's good to be on with people I've talked to almost every day. Some of you guys, especially Darge Knight. We talk all the time. So this is a treat for me. Thank you for having me on.
No, thank you for being here. It's going to be a great one. And what exciting times as we're running up to next gen. Guys in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. So let's just start off. This week was kind of dominated by the PlayStation news. Finally, it looks like PlayStation is awake. They had delayed the teardown, and it's happened now. The first thing that immediately bounces off at you is the bloody size of the thing. Mo, tell me, what do you think? Because you left a comment in my Twitter saying it's not so big. What do you think?
Hold on.
Yeah.
What happened is at that stupid Japanese thing that they did the other day where they wouldn't let them touch anything, you know, where they wouldn't let them touch the console. When it was on the table, the angle of the camera, the way it was showing it, you know, with the Elton John looking guy. So the angle of the camera there, I was like, wait a second, man. It actually doesn't look so bad. It looks pretty good from there, you know, but shit, after the numbers came out, it seems like it's 15 inches. So it's a big boy, man. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Machine. Like that was the size of his torso. I mean, yeah. That's pretty insane. Form factor, a lot of people say, look, it's going to sit there and not do anything, so it's not a big deal. But as Assassin Looper says, it's a huge bitch, like Dealer said in his brilliant video. Yep. That was fucking amazing. Like, Darge, you're a big lad. Does that bother you, a big console like that?
Well, it probably wouldn't bother me, but it is big. Like, it is big. You can't downplay how big it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking huge. So
That's what she said.
yeah, I don't like. At the end of the day, you get what you want to get out of it, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Like, for me personally, I probably won't bother buying that console anyway. So, but if you do want it and you get it, you'll get enjoyment out of it, whether it's big or not. But it is big.
Yeah, no. I think the form factor is a factor for me. I think in Japan, Madz, do you not think, or do you think it's an inconsequential thing, or that the size of it is considerable and may sway people in deciding whether or not they commit to a purchase of the PlayStation 5?
Well, it's really difficult to say, but like, I remember when, going back to the like previous generations, I remember like people telling me that like Japanese audience and Japanese gamers, or should I say Asian, gamers, like they don't have much space in their homes because the flats are small, because everything is super expensive. So who knows, maybe that may play a factor in and maybe they're not going to be happy about like buying with this huge console. Let's face it, it's a big boy, right?
Yeah.
So who knows, right? But like at the end of the day, like I think that the Japanese gamers and like Asian gamers overall, I think they are more into like mobile gaming right now anyway.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, so like I don't know, maybe Sony don't really care about whether it's big or not, because like all across the globe, like size doesn't really matter that much, I think, right? So yeah, I don't see it really being a big problem. Worst case scenario, you're not going to put that under your TV, but like basically on the floor or something, right? If you don't have a space. I mean, PlayStation 3 was a big console as well. I remember.
This is taking the piss. This is like you need some real estate for this one. Guys in chat, do let us know. Does that make it like it's big? Do you think it's
there's a 3-inch difference between the PS5 and the Series X.
So
I know, shit, I'm sorry. I don't know how to do it, man. I don't know how to describe it. But there is, Go ahead.
And it's not just that. Like the height, 3 inches isn't a big deal, but that depth, it's almost twice as deep into the entertainment center. Which, if you have it in there, it's not a big deal. You're not going to see it. Just looks like the white Tower of Mordor, really.
Yeah.
It's not a great looking console, and I'll say the Xbox Series X is not a cool looking console. It's kind of plain. So I think you're kind of at the two extremes. The PS5 looks way overdone, and the Xbox Series X looks too plain. But I just keep telling people, like, who cares as long as they run great and the games are fun on them, which I think we have a lot to look forward to.
I'm personally a fan of the Xbox Series X. I think this looks like the obelisk from 2001: A Space Odyssey. It looks like it means something. It's going to change things. And we just did by the way, we just launched another montage trailer. Aaron Greenberg, you need to reach out. I know you reached out last one, but yeah, retweet this one. It's the console I think looks sexy. I think it's very minimalistic. It'll fit in and meld into the background. Well, Asa, you're a bit of a stickler as far as how hardware looks and kind of.
Yes and no. I'm the opposite of a stickler in that I don't want to see the hardware. So when Colt says that the Xbox Series X looks pretty plain, I'm one of the few people on the planet that quite liked the original Xbox One in terms of the way that the box looked, because it didn't. It just disappeared. It was boring. It was huge, but you stuck it on an entertainment center. It didn't have lights all over it, and I was happy. PlayStation is white, which upset me immediately because I'm not a teenage boy putting it in my bedroom. That was the first thing, and the fact that it's huge just means more to try and hide behind a curtain.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're going to have massive curtains to hide that thing, because it's got a weird bulge as well. Like if you've got the non-digital version, it's a bit of a weird one. Moving away from the form factor of it, another thing that was shown off was that SSD slot buried within the console. Buried is a bit of an exaggeration, but compared to its competitor, they're very easily just slot in a chip. And we've seen the video comparisons. You have to undo this. For me, someone like me, I hate that. I just hate that. I think it's an absolute ball ache, and I just don't want to do it, especially when the hard drive is, 660 gig of it's usable. That's not even 3 Call of Duty Modern Warfare games, so it's inevitably going to happen. Mo, does that bother you? The size? The SSD thing that you have to actually not tear the sofa up, but open it up?
Look, man, the only reason why it's bothering people is because of how easy Microsoft made it look, right? With the Xbox.
But okay, yeah, go ahead.
No, I personally think so, because that kind of set a new bar in terms of what we can do with this. I mean, especially the brand new SSD itself and that small form factor where you plug it into the back of the console and you're straight into the PCI Express. That's some pretty impressive shit, no matter how you spin it.
Yeah,
so
true.
that itself just set a new standard. It set a new bar. And to be honest with you, I really don't give a shit about it. I mean, is it annoying? Yes. Is it inconvenient? It's inconvenient because of the Series X and the standard. That's honestly what I think, because the PS3, you were able to open it and change the hard drive. The PS4, you were able to open it and change the hard drive. Should they have gotten with the program and with the time? Absolutely. But clearly,
then someone like Darge, who's got big hands, he's gonna void that warranty in 2 seconds as he tries to fit that SSD in.
I'm pretty clumsy. Like, Xbox, obviously, Mo is right. They've ticked the box for me because it's just easy, just slot in. But in regards to the PlayStation, I'd probably break it, because I know what I like. Even though it's like little hooks, you slide in and hook in. Yeah, I'd definitely break that. And I don't really see anyone bothering with it. Like, with the expansion as such, I mean, you can just manage the games that you install and uninstall when you finish playing them. I don't really see many people actually opening their console up.
Yeah.
Do you know, has anyone on this panel actually fit an NVMe drive in a PC before?
No.
I have.
There's
it was
tiny fucking screws.
quite frightening. $100 stick of gum. Yeah, $100 stick of gum, and I'm trying to put it into my PC and hope that I don't snap it in half. Yeah, it's kind of, it's amazing how small they are and what they do, but they're expensive. I think if you're going to expand your storage on the PS5, you better do that before you put it away, before you set it up, because I think it'd be better to do that, to get it out of the box, pop it open, put your NVMe expansion in.
While you've got your friend to help you carry it around, as they will probably say in the instructions.
Get somebody on each end to carry it. Sure. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's not really all that convenient either way. Like, if I want to decide down the road I want to add that expansion card to the Xbox, I've got to reach around and place that in. I don't want to take it out and pull the cables. I can. It's not a big deal. But this is a different thing. The 360 had a snap on the side hard drive, and those were expensive. You could buy one for your PC with double the storage space for the same price.
Yeah.
So this is just a different thing that we have to become accustomed to, because storage needs to be fast, and it's going to be expensive.
Yeah. And then speaking of the lending going on from, I hope I don't break that on the PlayStation, but I'm just not looking forward to doing that. I'm genuinely nervous about voiding my warranty for that. Speaking of
it's not going to. Come on, you know that.
You don't know. You
no, bro.
Dude.
They're not gonna tell you to expand it and void the warranty.
You see the warranty sticker.
You don't know me, Mo.
No,
I'm the clumsiest guy in the world. You don't understand.
Let's put this to rest. Like, people are saying he pulled off a warranty sticker at one point, but obviously this was the plan since they started building this thing, that you could put this NVMe in here and not void the warranty, and you're not going to break something on accident or scratch something and they're going to go voided warranty. Like, if you snap something, like, the most thing that's going to happen is you might snap a tab that holds the white panel on, and maybe the console panel doesn't sit back together like the way it's supposed to. That's not going to void your warranty. But
the gas factor, it needs to be gas proof, and there's a high standard for that gas proof.
The thing is he did a teardown of the entire system, so of course the further he went along, the warranty was voided early in that video. So I mean, just because he did that, it doesn't.
No.
And I think that's why people are so scared of like this thing, because he shown the whole teardown, right?
Right.
And he even removed the sticker before he went into the the whole SSD panel and stuff, right? Well, where in fact all you have to do is remove the white, the panel, right? Unscrew one screw, and there we go. You're there, right? So it's quite simple. And to be honest with you, these white side panels, they seem to be very elastic. I mean, like, they don't really look like they're going to break that easily. So yeah, I don't think that's going to be a major issue. And I remember how people had to do that with a PlayStation 4. I mean, like, the whole disk drive, swap. And that was a swap. So you had to, on top of that, you had to install the operating system, right? Where here, you're not swapping anything. You're just adding extra storage. So you don't have to deal with, operating system, that kind of stuff, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want to exaggerate. I was just making a point. I'm absolutely bloody useless with these things. But the inconvenience factor then feeds in again to something as rudimentary as a bloody stand to turn it sideways. Now, Polygon wrote a piece on it saying it's a touch of genius, but really, I just to change the orientation of the console, I have to get a screwdriver out to do this. I'm just going to really quickly
interrupt to let the people on the stream know. So I know that the cameras are all gone. We've got 170, maybe more people. I don't know how many people are watching at the moment because we're on so many platforms. The cameras have temporarily disappeared just because I've got some name tags to switch around. They will be back. So if you want to see more of Colt's face, just stay a little bit longer.
No way.
Won't be long.
Sorry.
Saying, guys.
Yeah, I was just saying, come on, this is bullshit, man. This is so stupid. And everyone's like, oh, it's so clever. You can take the screw in and put it inside the console. Like, shut the fuck up, man.
I thought it was. You see, here's the thing. It's unnecessary. You know, and the thing is because even before their own consoles, technically you didn't need to put a stand or anything. You could either put it vertically or horizontally, PS2, PS3, PS4. Yeah. So it was not necessary to do it, but it was necessary for this console design. Do I agree with it? No, but I'm gonna put it vertically anyway. You know what I mean? So I don't really give a shit. This will not affect me whatsoever. Yeah. But it is annoying. It is a little bit annoying. It requires a little bit of work, but I think this was probably the only way they figured it would fit the current design that they have, the way that they have it, because that bitch can just get tipped over if you just blow on it, dude, So and it needs something like that. It needs a round base for sure to at least keep it in place. But yeah,
I actually have one concern with that, with that stand, because when it's vertically, right, when it stands vertically, I mean, the screw is going to keep it in place, right? But when it's horizontally, then, I mean, it's just going to stick on those like two kind of, snaps, or however you guys call it, right? I mean, you don't really attach it like properly. You don't use any screws to screw it to the actual console. So, I mean, I wonder how good of a, solution that's going to be. I mean, try moving your console, and that will unsnap, and then you may end up with your console on the floor. I mean, I don't know. Doesn't that bother you?
The stand in horizontal mode is to make up for the curvature of the console. It's on one side it's lower, and then it's higher on the bottom if you're reaching under there. So they put the stand on the high side to give it. It's balancing on the front of the console, and then behind where your plugs are, the stand is providing support. So it's stable there. It just looks, I think both consoles do not look great laying on their side. Unfortunately, some people will have to put their consoles horizontal orientation because of their entertainment center. I'm going to pop out one of my shelves because I popped out one shelf on one side. I've got a shelf over here, so I'll pop that out, and the PS5 will go there, and then the Series X can go where my vertical 1X is. So I don't know, they just look funky, but do you guys care? I mean, we've been talking about it for a while, but it did interest me the way that Jeff Keighley said, like, the heat sink is thing of legends, and Polygon said the way this PS5 is designed is unbelievable, or some other hyperboles they used. And when I look at the teardown, it's like they basically just built it like they do all the consoles. You have the board, you have a heat sink, and you have a fan, and you you have a curve so you can fit in that Blu-ray drive. So dealer's video was absolutely phenomenal.
Oh man,
He just went off the cuff.
yeah.
Even Wi-Fi connectors are pretty much the same, like just like in PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3, to be honest with you. So yeah.
This one has Wi-Fi 6 though, so it has at least it has a better network card, man. Because I can definitely say the network card in the PS4 was just trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
Do you guys know much about the USB-C port? There's a USB-C in on the PS5, but Xbox just has regular standard USB. I think it's is it the mini USB-C?
It's the USB-C mini one, yeah. It's interesting because
like the one that you'd stick into your console or your Galaxy phone, is that what is actually in front of the PS5?
Yeah, the little reversible one that you can turn upside down. But it's interesting because it's quite fast, which will actually be useful with the storage being the way that it is. A lot of people are going to be swapping games from external drives to the internal one on both the Xbox and the PlayStation because there's not that much storage. So we've seen from obviously all these people have got their hands on the Series X and they're saying that it only takes a few minutes to do that, which is great. In theory, it should take half as many minutes to do that on the PlayStation, which is
What's the speed of the USB-C?
On the PlayStation, the USB-C one is 10 gigabytes per second.
So you'd have to what would you plug into the front of it to have a USB-C? Is the thing that goes into the front of the PS5. That's what I haven't kind of understood.
It's so USB ports are less interesting than you might think, so I don't want to talk about them for too long. But
we like to talk about speeds and that kind of stuff, right?
It is, but the speed isn't strictly determined by what the port is. The USB-C is a nice, convenient, reversible one because everybody hates a USB port. You try and put it in, you always get it the wrong way around the first time, regardless. USB-C is convenient in that sense, but it's not got other advantages really. It's just small, and if you buy a hard drive from Amazon and you search for a USB-C hard drive, you'll find them no problem.
Okay. Because when I would buy external hard drives, they usually just have the USB type A, I think they call it, or a 3.1 with the blue. Like that's what goes into a device normally. The other, I feel like it's backwards. I guess that's why I don't understand why the USB-C.
It's because you most often see it on a phone, don't you? Like you said, so you'll be more familiar with USB-C there. But
somebody actually in the chat mentioned JFHA at the bottom. He said maybe PSVR. I was actually thinking that. I wonder if that's some sort of proprietary thing it's not proprietary, but I wonder if that's like for the PSVR. Like a future proofs somehow.
Because if you have a USB 3.1, the blue rectangular port, it's doing the same thing as having USB-C. As far as I know, I don't think you're getting more bandwidth because of the other end of the USB. USB is still bottlenecked by its standards. Sure. But is it true that the PS5 has faster USB ports than the Series X? Okay,
that is true. Yeah, but it's not going to do a whole heap apart from when you're swapping those games back and forth.
Okay.
Another thing, like we're celebrating the fact that, and I was going to come across I'm being overly critical. I'm just playing devil's advocate, but I think it is a point that needs to be discussed. That the teardown happened again. Very different to what Xbox did. Is that more, praiseworthy of what Xbox did and the confidence, speaking to the confidence of Xbox, than it is a slight on Sony that it decided to have a teardown in its own environment with its own engineer? Because I personally think that's a big ballsy move from Microsoft to hand over to Digital Foundry. Colt, do you think there's a value in that? I think there is. I think there's a point to be made that you're confident enough to show it to a third party, or do you think that's inconsequential? Am I just reading into it a bit too much?
There's a couple levels to this. John Linneman of Digital Foundry said last night that they still have not received a PS5, but normally they do not get them this early. So it's not like PlayStation hasn't sent them yet, and what are they waiting for? So I wasn't aware of that because I don't know what the timeline was when they usually get a console. Xbox was ready a lot sooner to show their hardware to Digital Foundry than PlayStation, and that's kind of an iffy, that's kind of a controversial idea. And the idea is that the PlayStation 5 is ready after the Series X, because there are really strong rumors that PlayStation 5 was pushing for a console in 2019 to get ahead of Xbox. Yeah. And it's one of the reasons why we don't hear from Sean Layden anymore.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Who
Now-
believes that, by the way? Who thinks that actually is the case, that PlayStation 5 was due to launch 2019?
So I get to talk to a lot of interesting people behind the scenes. Sometimes our good friend Darge is in party chat and privy to some of this information that gets shared and kind of comes around from the back alleys. I'll just say it and I'll just pretend like I don't believe it because it sounds unbelievable to me. But Sean Layden was pushing for another Jaguar Core based PS5 in 2019 with a really strong GPU, and PlayStation wasn't having it. And it basically came down to who would run the division better, Jim Ryan or Sean Layden. And Jim Ryan won that competition, and he's a really strong businessman. I really like Sean Layden more, but the fact that the PS5 was slated for 2019, they saw what Xbox Scarlet could be, and they pushed hard to revamp the PS5 for 2020 to launch alongside it, and they're just now getting it ready, and it's not full RDNA 2.
Do you know what I will say on that is, if that is true, and Jim Ryan is the reason that we don't have Jaguar cores in the PlayStation 5, then I'll forgive him all of his lies.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Darge, you've done your little camera's done the thing again. Sorry, Asa.
No, I've got it. It's
Yeah,
fine. It's fine.
I'm having internet trouble here. I keep having like laggy issues, like you're all like slurring and stuff like that. So I might have to just drop out.
No, you're not dropping anywhere. You're staying here. Just
We
shut
can
up.
hear you just fine. So just make it work.
Asa's going to be well busy all night with me. We're like,
You're good, you're good.
Twice, so.
No, don't be silly, man. We need the Darge factor here. This is why the show's going. That's a crazy thing to say, Cole. Have you actually said that publicly before?
I mean, no, I've kind of talked about it. I've been hearing for a long time. Remember last year? Oh my gosh, was that last year? Summer 2019 after E3, I came back from LA from going to E3, and people wouldn't stop talking about how developers said the PS5 dev kit is more powerful than the Scarlet dev kit. And I did a lot of digging into it, and that's when I started to hear that Xbox was doing something and PlayStation was trying to play catch up, and it's been going on for a long time. And now we're hearing more and more. Remember that RDNA 2 based little tagline on the Teardown video for Sony?
Yeah.
I really think they're saying it backwards, because if I was them, I wouldn't say this, but I think it'd be more accurate to say RDNA 1 based with RDNA 2 features. And I'm going to get like drugged behind a pickup truck for saying that, but that's like, it's really bad. Like it's kind of, I think they got an idea of what Scarlet was, and power does really matter, and you have to have enough power to push yourself through 5 or 6 years in a generation.
So do you think that's why they're clocked so high, the PlayStation 5? That would mean the whole system seems to be designed around cooling with its massive fan, liquid metal, T1000, whatever the hell Dino was saying.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
You know what? I've heard a lot of rumors about like PlayStation 5 planning for 2019 release.
Yeah.
And to Cole's point, I even remember Brad Sams talking about it a couple of months ago, literally, right? He basically said that he heard from, his sources that was the original plan, that Sony really planned to release PlayStation 5 in 2019. Now I don't really know what would happen with SoC, the chip and that kind of stuff, but if what Colt says is true, and if they really base that GPU on the RDNA 1 microarchitecture, because we need to distinguish two things, like RDNA 1 or 2 microarchitecture and the features, right? Because if this GPU is based on RDNA 1, like in terms of microarchitecture, they are in trouble, because that microarchitecture is not scaling very well. So if they overclocked RDNA 1 based GPU to 2.2 gigahertz, I mean, that's not going to run well. So I really do hope that that's RDNA 2, because RDNA 2 base GPU, because then at least they would get all these power optimizations and that kind of stuff, because it's more efficient.
What is making people doubt the fact that it's an RDNA 2? What is it like? Maybe I missed it, 'cause I'm just curious to see why. I'm curious why this there's this
think
the
the GitHub
mentality
link
around it.
being
Yeah,
so
there's three main. I think there's three if I'm remembering all of them. There's three things that are missing from the PS5: Direct ML, the machine learning that does that really high quality graphics upscaling with AI learning, and then there's no VRS, the variable rate shading, which is a super massive efficiency feature that only renders things within view and saves the rest of the processing to bring graphics up and add more performance. And it doesn't have mesh shaders. Am I right, Madz? Am I getting all that?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
that's what is assumed because it's been months since the deep dive, and PlayStation has not defended that they don't have mesh shaders, that they're using primitive shaders, and they don't have VRS, and they don't have Direct ML. And those are things that are in the microarchitecture for RDNA 2. So I'm also hearing from a really, really, really good source that it is RDNA 1 based with a couple of RDNA 2 features of the architecture, and AMD is not going to just call them out and say, look, they're trying to get up to the level of the Xbox Series X, because both consoles, both Xbox and PlayStation, have partnered with AMD, and it doesn't do Lisa Su or AMD's people any good to say Xbox did it way better and PlayStation is trying to.
they're never doing
So
that.
do you not think though, if you have a look at the backward compatibility situation, where for the longest time everyone went off this this statement that Mark Cerny made during the PlayStation 5 reveal, where he said, a certain percentage of the best 100 games are going to work, and it was misconstrued to mean that actually that's all that's going to work. And Sony have taken this long to come out and challenge that. Do you not think that maybe they just don't really care what other people are saying about mesh shaders and don't feel a need to come out and confirm it?
Well, I think we haven't seen it work as well. That's the one thing that
Gaz, tell me how you would recognize mesh shaders working in a demo.
No. I'm with backwards compatibility is what I'm talking about. The BC stuff, you have to give it to Microsoft. They've given it to independent outlets. They've run it through. We've seen various tests of it. Why are Sony all of a sudden so so asleep? And even their own press release does say that, by the way,
I wouldn't stake your reputation on this, Gav.
I know I'm not staking my reputation.
No, I know, but I was just saying, I wouldn't pin too much on that. I think it'll be fine.
But this is verbatim. They said, although many PS4 games are playable on the PS5 consoles, some functionalities are there and additional. Some may exhibit errors.
It's almost the same wording that they put for boost mode on the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I've not found a game that doesn't work with it. So
really?
I wouldn't.
Okay. I mean, I'm happy to, but you have to give the lack of clarity on this. The Sony, okay, I understand that Sony came out and late and they said it, and the list of games that don't work, I haven't even heard of these games.
It's 10 only Hitman Go is the only one I've ever heard of from that list. So,
I mean, exactly. So that's inconsequential. And then there's pretty much everyone. Colt dealer all said, okay, I'm fine.
Well, they're playing to their strengths. Like Asa makes a really good point that they don't need to talk about certain things because they've got a handful of first party games ready for the first couple of months of launch. Xbox doesn't. So Xbox's strength is to show how great they're doing with back compat. PlayStation thinks we don't have to talk about back compat because we need to push Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon's Souls, and Ratchet and Clank. We need to make sure that those are front and center in our marketing. Xbox doesn't have a front and center marketing first party game in the first 6 months.
What's supposed to be Halo Infinite, but
it's supposed to be Halo Infinite. So the other thing is, everyone says, well, they didn't talk about back compat. They haven't been transparent. PlayStation hasn't been transparent or communicative about back compat, but Xbox has. The other problem is Xbox hasn't shown gameplay because their own studios don't have a game ready to show. In fact, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, who they partner with, their game comes out in a month. According to Aaron Greenberg, they're not even ready to show a bunch of gameplay running on the Series X yet. They're barely just getting the game ready. They've shown it on PC, which is where they get it up and running first.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think that is, Cole?
But because right now we're in a global pandemic, and I know we've used this excuse many times, but we have to remember PlayStation doesn't have to do a comprehensive showing of back compat because they're just barely getting everything up and running and ready to go for launch. Every team, every studio, every person that is working for PlayStation or Xbox is sitting at home at their desk in front of their monitor. They're not in studio with their 20 to 100 to 500 people. And you have to understand, if any of you guys here work full time, I'm working from home full time. I'm not with my office of 10 people. I'm not around the 300 plus people I work with in my group ever. I only just talk to them on the phone or over email. And if you're doing work where you're working with people in the studio and you come over and they can look over your shoulder and see what you're doing and get hands on with what's going on, it is a big deal.
You know, but let's be fair too about that criticism in general, because we're also saying, you know, about the conversation you guys were just having, and then we were also talking about the launch titles. And you know, Colt, you had just said right now, you said that the reason why Sony has been focusing on this is because backwards compatibility was not in their play, versus Xbox has all their play right now. Well, not all their play obviously, but a lot of their play is in the backwards compatibility and showing it to everyone and how well it is. And that's to also compensate for the lack of the first party releases. You know, because I understand, you know, COVID and whatnot, it has affected everything. This entire year has been shitty for everybody, you know, from all aspects. But at the same time, at least these people have shown some of the games that are running on their consoles, whether it's 1400p, I don't give a shit, 60 FPS, 1400p, whatever. The point is they've shown it, right? We know what makes me happy about the Xbox hardware is because just the stuff that we had just seen recently. I mean, seeing Hitman and Hitman 2 running in 4K unoptimized and 60 frames per second, I was like, hey man, this is some impressive shit we have here. So why are you not showing us what it's fully capable of? I love the backwards compatibility play, you know, but at least we can be fair from that end. Like, so Microsoft, that's all they need, by the way. That's all they need to do, because they have played their cards so well, you know, over these past few months. So at this point, that's all they need to do. Show us this thing, show us this beast and what it's capable of. I get what it's doing with the backwards compatibility, but
before I go to
I'm paying $500 to also play new games to make this thing
they
sing,
have eight,
you know?
they have 8 games. They have 8 games from their partners that are exclusive to the Xbox, that are coming to Xbox before they come to PlayStation, or they're just playing exclusive to Xbox and not going to PlayStation. They have 8 games coming this holiday. And we asked Aaron Greenberg on our podcast, where's that gameplay? Can't you ask them to do it? I joked, like, give me the footage. Give me one day and I'll put together a comprehensive video about why that game can run on the Series X. But he said that their teams are stretched thin enough as it is. And he was referring to the partners they're working with, not just Xbox Game Studios. Like, there's a game like The Medium by Bloober Studios. They're the only ones who've really shown anything. They have another game called The Sea, which is a first-person, like, puzzle mysterious game. Like,
I'm gonna
or what?
Right, this is like throwing Gaz's agenda off a little. It's not really the planned topic, but for anyone that hasn't seen Colt's channel, there's loads of good Xbox content on there. But recently, you've done this 17-minute video of games that are coming to the Xbox Series X in this launch window. So you obviously know your stuff about the games that are coming. Day one, what are you going to play?
I'm going to be playing Valhalla. That's how it is. I've always been that way. Like, I don't care if a game's exclusive or I don't care what it is, as long as I want to play it. And I'm going to be playing Valhalla, and then hopefully, I don't know if I can wait for Cyberpunk to get a patch. I'm assuming it's going to get a patch as soon as the Xbox Series X is out.
I think they've said otherwise, which is really difficult. I'm the same on that.
I lied to myself too. I told myself, I'll just wait. There's a lot of shit to play, but come on, man. It's going to be hard to wait.
Boogie, thank you for the $5 super chat. You say you think the reason they didn't talk about backwards compatibility is because they wanted to sell you the remaster of Spider-Man PS4 in the Ultimate Edition. Gone Cole. Is he right? Or is there an element of truth to that, or is that just salt in the wounds? Oh, that's a bit far-fetched, but...
I mean, they did announce the Spider-Man remaster before they even said it was back compat, so...
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, do you think a team like Obsidian sits there and goes, hey, can we frame this so we can get people excited about the one they buy before the one they already paid for? I don't look at Insomniac like that, but business is business.
Yeah.
But looking at, you've got Spider-Man 2018, Marvel Spider-Man is going to be up to 60 frames. It's going to have ray tracing on the remaster, and it's $20 extra if you buy Miles Morales. So you're basically paying $20 to play Spider-Man in its remastered state, but Gears 5 is coming at full 4K on the Series X, up to 120 FPS with global illumination ray tracing and better, higher settings than is available on PC right now for free. It's part of Smart Delivery. Like you don't have you already own the game. Just load it up and see how it feels and play it again if you want. It's a totally different approach, and people don't see it that way.
Darge, you've been quiet there. What are you thinking about this whole PlayStation backwards compat thing?
Colt's bang on. Like I spoke to you earlier, and I said that's Sony's model is to remaster and recharge for a game. That's what they want to do. So a big plus for Xbox is the fact that they're giving you that game, back compat, whatever, you will get the best quality version of that game for free. Like they're not going to charge you for that privilege. So going back to the backwards compatibility statement that Sony come out with today, the fact that they've had to put a disclaimer on it and say don't purchase any in-game DLC or stuff like that, it's just like, it's good if you own the product, but there's no guarantee you're actually going to be able to play it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Huggy says, Gav, you're ruining the podcast you're talking about.
Regarding forwards compatibility and stuff like that,
yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I do agree with you. Sorry, Huggy was saying, Gaz, you're ruining the podcast you're talking out of your arse. I haven't even said anything in the stream yet. But don't worry, my arse is open. That sounds weird. But I'll be talking soon. Yeah, no, I do agree. I do agree with you there, Darge. The pro-consumer versus anti-consumer, out of the two now, it's a bit clear to me. We'll go talk about this at the end of the stream because I just want to move on to the next topic. It kind of is a segue from what Colt was saying earlier, but also something that Aaron alluded to very loosely. Aaron Greenberg appeared on the RDX podcast. Look, we're repping it here. He did. You asked them, or Dealer asked them, look, when are you going to show the gameplay for the Xbox Series X, which is such a stupidly glaring omission for a console that you really are touting as the next big thing. I mean, we're doing it for them, not that they're paying us or anything, by the way. We've got a PlayStation montage coming as well, don't worry. The Xbox Series X gameplay, Aaron was loosely saying that, look, we should expect something later this month. What is it that we're expecting? Are you expecting like third parties like Assassin's Creed Cult running on Series X? Would that be enough? What would be enough for a Series X to show off? That would be
honestly, the way this community acts sometimes, nothing would be enough. And they're a couple months too late. If they put out something in a week or two, probably Monday. If they put out something, or they have influencers put out gameplay, it's not right. Like, I don't know how to tell these guys this. The executives or the leaders any more clearly. You can't rely on influencers or some of the media sites to showcase your games for you. One example is a big YouTuber was showing how the Series X does back compat. He was showing the games. He didn't understand what they did. He knew about some performance modes. Like he showed Rise of the Tomb Raider from 2016 running at native 4K 30, and he said it's able to hold 4K more often thanks to the power of the Series X. I'm like, hey, buddy, the 1X held it at 4K at 30 frames. Like that's how it ran. Yeah. Another thing, Dealer and I harp on this really, really big time. If you guys, you should follow Dealer Gaming on YouTube.
Yeah.
But all of our videos, every single one of them are 4K 60 frames, and we have the quality at the highest possible to get past the threshold, because YouTube videos at the bitrate quality are not that great, but we kind of go over and above so that they can be the best they can be. And people have asked me, like, what are you rendering your games on? Like, is that PC footage or what? I'm like, no, it's Xbox. I just try to make everything look nice because people need to understand what the Xbox games look like. And I've been doing that for a couple of years. But if you let some influencer, which will probably happen on Monday, some big YouTubers that always render at 1080p 30 at like 10 megabytes per second, they're going to show what the Series X looks like. People are going to go, it looks like last gen.
Yeah.
And it's a big difference. And it's going to be a problem until Xbox says, like they did with Codemasters, hey, we need to see the game, show it at your highest fidelity. They have people that know. It's really a difficult thing. PlayStation has done a great job of showing their footage at high quality. Like Demon Souls, you should watch it outside of the stream. There's a final video of it. It looks phenomenal at 1080p 60.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it
B
does.
B Crease, I'm not reading your full name. Going back to the, do you think anyone will get direct comparisons between the consoles before launch? Before launch, I don't think so. I don't know what the NDAs and terms are between the two companies, but yeah, I don't know. That's where Digital Foundry are going to make a lot of money coming up to launch. Everyone's eyeing up those Digital Foundry comparisons. I don't know if you'll see that at launch, maybe after.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait for that. Like I've been seeing performance, comparisons between graphics cards for years now, and now we're at a point with consoles where we can do these comparisons between the PS5 and the Xbox. It's not arbitrary anymore like before, where we were just like 1080p 30 FPS, who gives a
Madz,
shit, right? So
Yeah.
I like it. I'm really looking forward to that stuff.
I am as well, with the sense of nervousness for the sanity of the gaming community, because my god, it's so polarized coming up. Madz, what are your going back to the Xbox Series X gameplay, like Colt says, that doesn't sound like a win-win situation because people will never be pleased. What will it take for you to kind of what are you expecting, and what would make you happy?
Well, I've got quite realistic expectations of what they're going to show, really, but because like you guys said, it's never going to be enough, right? And at the end of the day, people would ideally they should show Hellblade 2, they should show Forza, Avowed, and all these next gen games gameplay, but that's not going to happen because these games are not coming anytime soon, right? But yeah, I mean, they will show Assassin's Creed Valhalla, they will show Dirt 5, they will show Medium, which is confirmed to be coming in December 10th. All these other indie titles which they shown in May. I forgot number of I forgot most of the titles of this game, but there's a couple of interesting titles. I mean, they don't really have the biggest game they may show, they will show, is obviously the Valhalla, right? Cyberpunk 2077 potentially, but that's not really going to be taking full advantage of the Xbox Series X and S capabilities, because that's still going to be this game is not getting a proper next gen patch until next year. But what I'm really looking forward to is the backwards compatible titles enhancements. So something that Jason Ronald has been talking about for a while, and even Phil Spencer in August, he promised us. He said that by the end of August you will see these enhancements, and we still haven't seen anything, right? And it's August, and it's October. So
Matt, sorry, are you referring to games like Sea of Thieves that they're going to enhance specifically for the Series X? Or are you referring to the automatic enhancement?
Not really, because these games have been confirmed to get these 4K patches from developers, right? So I mean, these games just going to look like on PC, right? What I'm referring to is these 30 frames per second games from Xbox One, right? Without any performance modes and that kind of stuff. And somehow, magically, backwards compatibility team is able to run these games at 60 frames per second, right? They will double the number of frames in these games. So that's what I'm actually looking forward to. And I know we are going back to the backwards compatibility, and why would you hype these old titles? Maybe because that there's not many proper next generation titles coming soon, right? And my only hope is that apart from that, I really do hope that CD Projekt Red will unlock frame rate in the Xbox One game version of the game, because what it will do is, when you run this on Xbox Series X or S, it will run at 60, just like the other backwards compatible titles that we've seen running on Xbox Series X, right? So that's what I really want.
Gunstar, thank you for the £2 super chat. Says the GameOnDaily launch trailer for the Xbox Series X is epic. Yes, it is. We just launched it, guys. Made by a genius, Kane of our team. He's an absolute genius. Just love his work. Thank you for watching that. Do check it out. We just launched it about 2 hours ago, like 7 o'clock maybe.
Hey, by the way, shout out to over 300 people watching, like, you know, Dealer would say, right?
Shout out to 300 people. Yeah, oh god, yeah, he was schooling me about this last time.
And you learned nothing.
I've learned nothing. Madz is doing my job for me.
So shout out to all people watching, and thanks for support.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining in. And guys, let's know in the chat whether you're happy about this whole Xbox Series X launch situation. I think it's a bit shit, really. I think, but COVID is a big excuse when I have to be fair. I'm very critical of PlayStation for doing things comparatively wrong when Xbox is doing things better. You know, pro-consumer, showing the teardown. At the same time, I'll be fair and say, look, the PlayStation 5, despite COVID-19, has next-gen games. Well, it has more next-gen games to show off. Ratchet and Clank still in launch window. I don't know what that means. So there's a big question mark hanging around that. But at least, you know, Demon Souls is carrying it. And you've got Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is a cross-gen game now that we know that. So it's like, I guess it's Demon Souls carrying it, but I still think, you know, Xbox really need to get there.
What are you talking about? I mean, Miles Morales, that's a PlayStation 5 exclusive, isn't it?
Well, that was...
I think...
Ryan's lie.
I'm not that big of a Spider-Man game fan myself, you know, for games. I thought the games were good, but I think you guys are really underestimating the power of Spider-Man itself. Like, I mean, to us, it's not a game, you know, but to them, they're looking at it from a financial perspective. Yeah, that game is going to move a lot of units for them for sure, man.
I'm not done with playing Spider-Man as a game. Aisa constantly lambasts me for not playing it yet, but my excuse is to wait for the PS5 version. But no, it is a big game. It's a big property, despite.
Oh yeah, man.
I mean,
despite how we think about it, it's gonna sell. You know, that's the thing.
We don't think much about it. We do think much about it.
You don't think much about the Marvel Spider-Man 2018? Do you guys not love it?
I love it. I think this is what Gaz is saying.
Man. I know. I really did like it. I'm just saying, like, Spider-Man for me is not a console seller. To me, you know, like, I won't buy a console for Spider-Man. I'm not saying it is.
Do you know, I love it so much. I'm actually gonna miss his face. Now that they've changed it, like, what?
I bought the PS4 because of Spider-Man. Once they first showed it, I knew God of War was coming, but that was when I said I need a PS4 now. Okay. So I bought my PS4 at the beginning of 2018, knowing that I would get in there for God of War and Spider-Man. So yeah, it's a system seller for sure.
No, it is, and I, you know, I have to give props to PlayStation. They've got more compelling titles. I think I'll be spending more time with the new games on PlayStation 5 initially, and then when Xbox finally wakes up to show off some games, then I'll be interested. The hardware is infinitely more interesting to me.
We're all gonna be playing Cyberpunk, bro. Don't lie to yourself.
Actually, no, I take back everything I've said. Moeqawama was absolutely right.
I'm going to be playing Cyberpunk, man. I'll enjoy my games for a week, and that's it.
You know, everyone, you're showing Demon Souls on the screen here, and this looks really impressive. This will probably be the one time where I really give a Souls game a chance, because this game looks phenomenal, and it doesn't look as stilted as the game used to be.
Yeah.
It just looks really great, but it comes out at a time when this game looks so good, but I just have to wonder if people are, even PlayStation fans, are going to be pulled away from wanting to play this because they're going to be playing Valhalla or Cyberpunk. So like these
bug snacks.
Bug snacks.
Yeah, no, that's a good point actually. I hope it does. It deserves a lot of attention anyway, because look at it. That is one of the best looking next gen titles I've seen running.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, man.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Testament.
I was a little disappointed by the. I was a little disappointed by the 1440 resolution, you know, for the 60 FPS. I was hoping it would be better, but honestly, dude, if I hadn't read, Colt, honestly, man, if I hadn't read that it was 1440p watching it on my monitor, I swear to God, I wouldn't have known. Maybe, I don't know, call me a noob, call me whatever. It looked great. The visual fidelity is what's carried. Is why.
Looks good. And that was why. Good example of a really high quality YouTube render. Like that video looks, like you said, at 1440 in motion at 60 frames, it looks really clean. And I'll bet you anything that if you asked whoever put that video up, they'll say, "Oh, we used a really high bit rate to compensate for YouTube." But most outlets just don't, and they're kind of missing the mark. This game looks phenomenal, and a great game deserves to be marketed correctly. And you hear that, Xbox?
Yeah, exactly. If Colt has uploading videos at a higher bit rate than you, Microsoft, then you have no excuse.
They have a marketing arm that does some of their high quality videos, really great production, but everything is rendered at 1080p 30 at a low bit rate. So when the games are in motion and you're seeing all this cool stuff that's coming to Series X, it's like, oh, I just got all these artifacts. It's like, come on, guys, like whoever your editor is, can I just tell him, hey, do this?
Yeah,
Real
or take
simple.
his job, really. K White Bob, thank you so much for joining us. Great guy. $4.99 super chat. It says panel consensus, the first comparison video done by a major YouTube outlet. Surely Digital Foundry.
AC Valhalla.
AC Valhalla? Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think
AC Valhalla or Cyberpunk, but actually no, Cyberpunk releases after, so it'll probably be one of the. Yeah, it has to be AC Valhalla.
Possibly Watch Dogs Legion, but yeah, one of those Ubisoft
What's the
games.
Cyberpunk release date? I live
November 19th for the old consoles.
Wow.
November 19th. So you guys said a minute ago, I think Mo said they're patching it like next year. Is that what we're guessing, or have they said?
Yeah.
No,
they
they're
did
not
say
given a date.
2021. Yeah, they did say.
I can't wait.
See, that's why.
I thought maybe they would kind of just end up doing what they did with The Witcher, and when it was released on the One X, they just had the patch ready. But
yeah.
Dodge, you looking so cute in the corner. Come on, Dodge, tell us what you waiting for, hyped for. Dodge is using dial-up. Oh shit.
I was just letting you talk about it. Demon Souls game, going back to Spider-Man.
Yeah,
we hear me?
Yeah.
All right,
We can hear you, buddy.
It's madness at my end.
Darge coming live from his Dreamcast.
good right now. Just keep trying.
Demon Souls looks really good. I've got all the Souls games. I'm shit at all of them, but Demon Souls, that trailer, that footage, everything they showed, that would be a reason I may get a PS5. But Spider-Man, not so much. But yeah, Demon Souls looks.
Demon Souls is carrying it for a lot of people, and
I'm more excited about Demon Souls than Spider-Man, to be honest with you, because I'm not really into those superhero games and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I liked it. I like the Bloodborne and these kind of games. So I'll probably enjoy this one more than Spider-Man, even though it's in 1440p. But you know what? We should actually get used to it, to be honest with you.
There is a 4K.
1440p though.
There is going to be a 4K 30 FPS mode from what they've said, at least.
But
no, 30 frames per second. I mean, no. That's not the way to play. No.
Yeah, I know. Of course it's but Digital Foundry said that it looks like there will be a 4K 30, but it hasn't officially been confirmed. So I'm just going off of
Madz is saying we should get used to 1440p when it means we're getting 60 frames and sometimes ray tracing on top of that. Yeah. So I think we have to change the way we approach the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. If we see a lot of 1440p, but it's all 60 frames and above, like, oh my gosh, like I game on PC, every once in a while. I always set high settings. I never go for ultra. I set high settings, 1440p, and make sure I'm at 60. And I love that so much. It's something you can't do with a Jag Core console. Yeah. So next generation, if Digital Foundry is saying your game's at 1440p and you hear somebody whining about it, just smack them.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, the frame rate is the big one. We always said frame rate is king last gen, and it's finally happening. So, and Digital Foundry have said, this res thing is a bit overblown, unless you've got a fat TV, don't. And I agree with them. I kind of gave you some slack on PlayStation. This is going to struggle to hit 4K, but reality, if they're hitting 60 and 1440p with ray tracing.
Well, that's the minor concern. We haven't seen it with ray tracing yet.
No, we haven't. Yeah.
Would you guys be happy with 1080p 60 with ray tracing?
Absolutely not.
No.
Can I have a word on that resolution thing? Because Digital Foundry said that, and I said that we should get used to 1440p and stuff, right? But in reality, it's not like we're going to be getting those games in 1440p displayed on our big TVs and stuff, right? What's going to be happening is that we will be getting, and these tools are already in use. all kinds of like reconstruction kind of techniques, and they are getting better. Like, you know, we hear like look at DLSS and on PC, for example, like that gives you an idea of, you know, what we'll be getting. Even PlayStation 5, even though they're not going to be proudly supporting machine learning, or at least not hardware accelerated machine learning, but there's been some patents out there, like basically where they will be using some you know, machine learn, like AI kind of calculations to, like, you know, increase the resolution. So, you know, like I wouldn't say that the resolution doesn't matter at all, because it does, because when you've got like this 65-inch TV, like 1080p games native just don't look good, right? Let's face it. But like I'm saying that we shouldn't care about resolution, like base resolution, that much, because there are different techniques to upscale these games, and DLS can upscale the game from 1080p to 4K, and it actually looks better than 84K. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, and Gunstar agrees with you, Madz. He says, and now it's all about reconstruction and machine learning.
Yeah.
It's true.
Right.
You're correct. I mean, no one is saying that frame rate res doesn't matter. It's just that 1080p seems a bit abhorrent nowadays. We're kind of getting
This is why I think AC Valhalla will probably be compared first, because I was actually very surprised when they said it's going to be running at 4K 60 on the PS5 as well. Yeah. So I'd like to see the differences, since it's running on the Series X.
Yeah.
Most likely, and I'm 100% certain it'll look and perform better in a way. But I'd like to know the differences between those two.
Oh man,
I was really surprised, honestly. I thought they'd probably be 1440 60. Once they said 4K, I was like,
yeah,
okay.
I'm quite surprised. I was quite surprised.
Yeah. But then again, the AC engine, I think the Valhalla engine is this gen's engine, correct?
Yeah.
Because they're always refining it with every game.
And we also don't know if there'll be a performance mode for Xbox Series S. And knowing tech the way we do, Madz might agree with me. I mean, there should be or could be a performance mode. They've shown Xbox Series S running Valhalla at 30 frames. Did you see that, Madz?
Did they? I mean,
yeah, they did. Yeah, they showed a little bit of gameplay on Series S, but it was running at 30.
Maybe with ray tracing or something.
I don't know. I'm just wondering what the Series S is capable of, because I think people are going to be surprised.
In terms of performance, if Series X is capable of 4K 60 in that game, Series S should be 1080p 60 or 1440p.
It's not that simple though. So that was when Microsoft first introduced the Series S. They made it sound like it was as simple as that. You develop it for the Series X, you get your performance profile, you lower the resolution, you do whatever you need to for the textures, and it works at the same performance level on the Series S. They've come out since then to talk a bit more about it, and actually there is a lot more kind of developer freedom or developer choice in how they use the hardware on the Series S. So it might be capable of that. The hardware spec is intended for it to be able to just run the same profile, but it's a developer thing, so they can do better by maybe keeping some of the textures higher, some other settings that they don't want to tone down. They do have the freedom to do that. So it could be that in the case of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ubisoft have decided that actually they want to keep a certain level of ray tracing on the lake or whatever. I don't know. Some reason they didn't want to hit. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Well, all I could say is when Digital Foundry's bloody comparisons come in, it's going to make the Middle Eastern conflict look like a piece of cake, because that's going to go insane. Digital Foundry hit 1 million subs, by the way. Congrats to them. They're great guys there. And it's going to be so much traffic on their site, because we're all waiting for this next gen showdown. I mean, one thing I wanted to touch upon this week, you know, you've got genuine concerns, then you've got concern trolling. One bit that the concern trolling came in my opinion, but I don't know, you guys might think where there's smoke, literally there's fire. Xbox Series X overheating concerns. Apparently they're blowing up. I don't know how this one gained traction. I think a couple of people said, oh, it's running, it mine's a little bit toasty, and yeah, people ran wild with that. Mo, are you worried that your Xbox Series X is going to spontaneously come
Listen, man, you know, for all the people that are, you know, all these the younger generations that are playing video games, and the people in their 30s and 40s, and every electronics product that you've ever used in your entire life, if you didn't know that it emits heat, then man, I don't know what to tell you.
Do you know my favorite
Hey,
quote around the whole
was
thing?
I was expecting ice cubes coming out of it, so I don't know.
There was
I mean, I'm like, do you people ever put your hands behind your consoles? Like, is heat something new? Did we all become thermodynamic scientists all of a sudden? Like, I can't believe this was even a conversation. What are you talking about? Fucking heat? Every console puts out heat.
Oh shit!
There was,
like Stone Cold Steve Austin, dealer just bust in there. Thank you so much for the shout out to Colt, Darge, Gaz, Madz, and all the power behind the show. You're a lovely guy. Forza gave us a small glimpse of 60 FPS ray tracing, but rendered at 30 FPS. How the fuck does that work, dealer?
It means that it was a 60 frames per second game, but the trailer that they put out was 30. Like Colt was saying, they just let themselves down on the quality of the upload.
Drives me crazy. Like, when you do 30 frames, yeah. When you do 30 frames, you get that, like, you get that filmic look. There's no other way to put it. Films are shot in 24, and they get this like filmic documentary style. I hate to break it to you, Turn 10, but documentaries are now running at 60 frames. Like, they shoot on high quality video. They don't film those anymore. It's a video game. We want to see it at 60. I would love to see that trailer running at 60, but
Yeah.
did you guys notice the ray trace reflections in that Forza Motorsports were fully, like, 100% detail retained in the reflective material, and then the Gran Turismo one had half of the items missing, which goes in line with what we saw for Spider-Man.
Yeah, the same thing with Spider-Man. Alex Battaglia did a really good coverage on that, with like vampires not having their, reflections cast. It's a weird one, but I have to bring you back to Asa Walker. He's the genius tech mind behind it, because he's going to quickly reprimand me. I live in constant fear of him correcting me.
On what?
On ray tracing and the demands and what the PlayStation is. I mean, come on.
No, I just wouldn't get too far ahead on what the Xbox is going to do. So the compromises that they're making on the PlayStation, so the quarter res and things like that, and leaving certain things, certain number of objects. I think if you look at the way that ray tracing was brought to current pro-level consoles in Crisis 3. No, Crisis Remastered, whatever it was. It's actually quite interesting. You can see obviously on those consoles they had to make an awful lot of compromises, but you can kind of derive what compromises are sensible from reading the analysis of that when they talk about how many kind of animated objects separate to static objects, how far from the player they're building this world that can be ray traced back. Ray tracing is massively demanding, and we will see compromises made on the Series X as well, because it's not infinitely powerful. It is going to have compromises, and there are sensible ones. And what my hope is that the Xbox's direct ML, so it's machine learning, upscaling, can take a lot of that load in terms of ray tracing, so that they can do their ray tracing in a lower res and still make it look nice on the car. That would be a massive performance win.
So you're not expecting like full...
I'm not expecting perfect ray tracing on either of these consoles. Okay. You don't get that on the PC side at the moment. Yeah. You're not going to get everything path traced with maximum precision all over. There will be compromises. There will be sensible compromises.
Resolution. I don't expect. I expect 50% resolution ray trace reflections on the Series X if a PlayStation is doing it at a quarter. It'll be interesting to see how the PS5 is set up with the compute units and with the ray tracing cores, and then we don't know who's going to use software ray tracing or hardware ray tracing, right, Asa?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we don't. I mean, I think they have both confirmed that they're capable of hardware ray tracing. The end result is going to be a mix, and developers are hopefully going to make sensible decisions. The one that's really that you really want to see, the worry at the moment is that all of these PlayStation 5 games with ray tracing are 30 frames per second. All of the Series X games with ray tracing are no frames per second. We haven't seen them yet, but we're really hoping that we don't have to make that same frame rate compromise.
Well, they've said that Chorus runs at 4K 60 with ray tracing. They've said that Forza Motorsports will be the same, but we haven't seen them. Mm-hmm. They just talk about them. It's like, well, you're talking about them. Just make a 3-minute video and just have the developer saying, hey, this is great because of this. Series X makes this possible. And take a week. I don't know why Xbox can't say, hey, we'll pay you for your time. Hey, Ubisoft, we'll pay you for a week's time of 5 or 6 employees to put together a gameplay montage and why the Series X and S make it possible for your game to be a reality on next generation hardware.
You've been saying that for ages.
I feel like I'm already doing their job for them right now.
I think we're too with our montage.
He is right though. They can do that, man. They have marketing rights to a few games that are coming out: Yakuza and Cyberpunk and Watch Dogs and AC Valhalla. So Yeah, I mean, that is definitely something that they can do. It's really not out of the realm of.
I think they are behind in terms of their tools, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah,
And I've heard that from a couple of people. I mean, I had Team Dog on my show the other week, and
Team Dog.
Team Dog. And he was basically saying that like he heard from sources that I mean, they are behind because that like they've been waiting for the full RDNA GPU and that kind of stuff, and they still developing the tools. And on top of that, like if you hear to what Jez Gordon actually says about their tools, they are actually they've got this game core kind of API, and apparently it's not ready. So like, which would explain, like, not sure if you've noticed, but like when they announced Halo, they said, like, I know that it's obviously it was delayed, but like before the delay, they were saying that, oh, Halo is coming like November, but the ray tracing is going to be added like next year, right?
Even Devil May Cry.
Now, Devil May Cry, exactly. Devil May Cry is coming, the special edition is coming to both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X same day, but only PlayStation 5 is going to have ray tracing on, well, Xbox Series
what?
not.
I didn't know
pissed me.
Yeah.
That pissed me off. That pissed me off. I pre-ordered the Xbox version.
Yeah, that tells me
know
there's
that.
something wrong with their implementation, or their tools are not ready yet.
Asa, you said this like 4 months ago that the tools aren't ready on the Xbox
If
side.
you go too far, then it makes it sound less clever. Because 4 months ago, of course they weren't.
Well,
But like a little while ago, we did have that on this show. We discussed it a bit, yeah. Because the only studios that we see any kind of ray tracing from are Turn 10 in particular. We've seen the Minecraft demo, and we've seen a little bit in Gears 5. And those are Microsoft's incubated studios that pioneer that technology. So it's not gone out to the rest of them yet. And it was the moment that they said it about Devil May Cry, I kind of felt a bit vindicated in saying that was probably what was going on, because it certainly looks it.
I didn't know that. I just found that out now.
Post-launch patch, yeah.
Oh shit! Well, that's
I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be other games announced like that as well. But
Yeah, Colt, you do sound like a Review Tech USA. No, you don't. No,
I mean, you know what? Hey, I'm sorry to cut you off, guys. Colt, what about this is actually interesting, because even the games like you were mentioning earlier about Gears 5 coming to the day and date, next gen patch, the day the Series X launches. Did they ever mention anything about adding ray tracing into that itself, or even the games, the first party games that they're going to upgrade?
Yeah.
Or are we suspecting that they're also going to get this later on when this stuff is ready, like Madz was saying?
That's weird, because that's one thing I haven't looked into, but I know that Gears 5 doesn't have full ray tracing. They're using global illumination and some other
Soft contact
types of ray
shadows.
tracing.
but you guys need to be aware that like Gears 5 had ray tracing implemented even on Xbox One X.
Yeah,
So
I didn't
they
know
are
that.
using software implementation.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
okay.
different. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, so they use ray trace shadows in Gears 5 on current gen hardware, but they're using like a global illumination and some other enhancements. So it's not full ray tracing as far as what PS5's Spider-Man is doing, but I don't remember what the other enhancements are there. Forza Horizon 4 and Sea of Thieves and Gears 5. I
They
think
will
there's
be
one
just
more.
4K 60. That's it.
Yeah, they're not adding anything to those,
No.
but yeah.
It'll be a shame, particularly for like Sea of Thieves is a live service game, so hopefully they will do a little more for that. I think anything that is a live service game that they intend to keep supporting going forwards, hopefully we'll see something added.
Can you get ray tracing on Sea of Thieves on PC?
Nope, can't even get
So
HDR
it's
on
not
PC.
even built
We
into
couldn't.
it. So
Yeah, actually, they did say. I'm sorry. Yeah, I did look it up. They did. It's on Windows Central, so they did say that there will be ray tracing coming to to Gears 5. That's.
yeah, they said that, but they mean the global illumination.
Yeah,
I'll look that
actually,
up.
yeah, ray tracing global illumination is more specifically. So, yeah. I
so,
think,
these digital foundry comparisons roll out. What are you saying? You're saying that we're gonna have like these PlayStation 5 games with ray tracing enabled, and we won't see that at all on Xbox, or maybe they're scrambling to get those tools ready.
Ask your friend at Ubisoft.
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah. Ask your friend at Ubisoft.
I will, Julian. Bond, for you. I'm going to ask you this shit. I know you hate the tech stuff. So I think we've all established that overheating concerns are absolute utter bullshit. So I'm glad because we completely glossed over that because I was just
that whole topic went away, didn't it? My favourite part of that whole conversation was I saw something after the PlayStation 5 was shown. It said PlayStation 5 it's like it runs really cool even in a room that's 30 degrees temperature. I was like, why do you think the room is that warm?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Hey, winter is coming, so it will keep my apartment, hot.
Yeah, I think Digital Foundry are going to do some like thermal tests, but they think it's a load of bullshit. Black Dragon actually in the chat says, I love global illumination, but path tracing is the real next gen shit. I think it's too real. Unless Minecraft. That's
not going to happen. No.
Yeah, Minecraft can
except
do it.
Minecraft, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to see much of that. That's massively demanding. But I'm interested to see. In fact, actually, talking about this, Spencer actually got some heat for kind of admitting, I think, paraphrasing, he said ray tracing implementation has been a bit spotty, was the word he used. Is that kind of...
That was a while back he said that, yeah.
It was a while back, yeah?
I think so.
But I think he's just referring to the fact because like people, I guess some people maybe expect that we will get like a full-blown ray trace games like in Minecraft. That's not happening anytime soon. Maybe next generation, who knows, right? Yeah. Even even on PC, that's not going to happen for a while. But referring to like spotty implementation, I think it's more about like just like we've seen with Spider-Man. You will see reflections, maybe global illumination. A quarter the resolution of that and that kind of stuff. So it will be on a game by game basis really. And like for some games things may work, for others not really. And sometimes I've seen some games that actually ray trace shadows actually looked worse than like baked in shadows, right? So
do you think ray tracing has been like this thing? I mean, ray tracing, is that really transformative?
Become a catchphrase, man.
Is it
it's
become
a bit of a... I feel like it's become a catchphrase for this generation. Like, ooh, ray tracing. It's like, man.
Yeah, because
it's brand new.
Not wrapping up this
Phil Spencer just said it was a failure. Did you hear about that? I can't remember what the name of the website was that said that quoted phrase Phil is saying that it was a failure, but it was actually quoting a developer talking on PCGamer.com about how ray tracing has not worked on some of the bigger like 2080 Ti's. A guy said, I have a 2080 Ti and I'm not getting ray tracing like as advertised on a super expensive GPU. But Phil Spencer also said he's seen the implementation of ray tracing in games where it doesn't look better or doesn't look transformative.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, because PlayStation, Xbox don't call the shots. Like Asa said, it's the developer. They choose whether they want to ramp up visuals over performance or vice versa.
Sure. Yeah.
So we're hoping this buzzword of ray tracing becomes just icing on the cake, and that really what they can do, it's something that RDX podcast has been asking for a long time, is ramp up the high settings, get the frame rate up there at 60 frames and hold it, and make the game look beautiful at a high frame rate, and advance the physics, like make the games more immersive, let more AI on screen.
What's happened to AI? We're all worried about how reflections look and the puddles look, but we're really far behind in strides as far as artificial intelligence and physics is concerned, like liquid physics. Like, when am I going to see that shit? I mean, hair in games looks shit.
Game developers don't go into a game, with the whiteboard and say, all right, let's make a game that has beautiful reflections. They go into a conference room and say, let's build a game that people are going to have so much fun, that everyone's going to be addicted to and be talking about it with their friends, and everybody wants to buy and play this game. And they start to build an amazing game. That's why I think when we talk about, is Series S or is a low-end PC going to hold back next generation? It doesn't matter. Developers come in and they have a scope, and they say, this is what games are built on, and these are the great consoles and hardware that are available. Let's build the best game we can that'll run on this great hardware, and let's make it look great. And maybe ray tracing needs to be something that just comes later, because it's at the end of the pipeline.
Yeah, Dealer makes a good point. He says, like many technologies, the way it's going to evolve is it's going to be used and then it'll become impressive over time. So you can't just relegate it to the side until like anything else, it will all develop. If the more studios get.
The thing with the ray tracing is people expect to look at a scene and go, I can see the ray tracing and that's beautiful, and it's going to be more subtle than that. Like we've had many months of any game that has a puddle in it, Gaz would start cheering for the ray tracing because he saw a reflection. And it sounds ridiculous, but normal people will not be able to tell the difference between ray tracing in a puddle and screen space reflection in a puddle.
Yes.
And that's the same for everything else. You got your contact trace shadows, you got your global illumination, everything like that. All the techniques that we've had developed over the last 10, 20 years to fake these effects are really, really good. So the way ray tracing comes in is it really subtly just makes them more real. So things that you don't even necessarily pick up on when you're analyzing a screenshot or a video. But it's like the uncanny valley when you look at people and there's just something not quite right. Ray tracing is going to be the subtle answer to that.
Asa is totally nailing it because for decades, we've been playing games where they fake the lighting. They make it look like you're in a room and the lamp and the room from the window is making the light come in. That's all. Mostly in most games, they fake that to look as realistic as possible. And they also bend the artistic visuals of that. They sweeten up games and make them look amazing. That's why The Last of Us 2 looks so amazing. They try to... Somebody's out there mowing their lawn. I should go yell at them. They try and make a game look beautiful and realistic, and then they sweeten it up. And then Ace is saying if you bring in ray tracing, which uses an accurate visual representation of how light bounces in, reflects, refracts, and absorbs, you might not get a nice looking... It might not look as impressive. And if they're going to do that at the cost of performance and everything else that comes with it, I don't want them to do that. So I hope.
Neither do I, man. Neither do I. I agree with you. Yeah, because no, like it's cool to have it. It's a cherry on top. Yeah. It's not going to affect or sway my decision in any way, shape, or form.
Do you care about
only if it negatively affects?
I don't really know too much about all the tech and the whatnot. Yeah. Xbox One X. I've got performance modes and 60s and Tomb Raiders and stuff like that. Give me the performance mode, give me the frame rates. All the other stuff will come after. Like, do you know what I mean? It's the gameplay first, then the resolution. So that's where I am with it.
I'm with you. I'm with you with the same thing. You know,
the other thing that you mentioned, Gaz, that we kind of passed over it, but you mentioned less advances in like AI and physics and things like that. And in terms of when those will come, that's when they stop supporting the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Oh, they're the bottlenecks.
They will definitely be the bottleneck. You can't design a game with those kind of things that will only work on one system. They're quite fundamental to gameplay. They should be anyway. You can do like superfluous physics that look nice. But for the real core stuff that changes the game, you need to drop those Jaguar processors.
You know, the funny thing is
the cloud can help then, AI and physics? I know Crackdown.
Wow, we've travelled back 5 years. Theoretically, yes. Commercially, no.
Theoretically, yes.
Commercially, no. That's just a resource that people aren't paying for. Well, we kind of are with Xbox Live Gold and so on, but commercially, no. But Mo was just going to say something on it.
Yeah, no, I was just going to piggyback off of what you just said about the bottlenecking. This is a completely different, can be a completely different day, but Capcom has been the only ones that actually had the balls to say that the previous console generations weren't going to be able to, remember when they completely scratched the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the Resident Evil 8, and they just moved them over to the next gen consoles. And then now they're kind of like now they kind of went back on their word, and they're like, well, we're probably going to bring it over, maybe. I do think in a sense that bottleneck will eventually happen if it's not already happening now, but however way they could do it, I'm not a developer, designer, engineer. They obviously know what they're doing, but it's going to happen a lot sooner. I think 2 years. Did you say 2 years?
2 years as like kind of Xbox Series X exclusives are coming in, aren't they?
Because man, like those Jaguar CPUs are only going to be able to handle so much. It's I don't know.
They were dated in 2013 when those consoles came out. So
what were you saying, Cole?
From the tech. Oh, sorry. Unless someone.
Let the man speak.
No. I was just agreeing with Mo. The Jag cores are done now. Like and then Asa said they were done when they came out. Yeah. Goodbye. See ya. Go away. Jag cores.
It's been a long gen. It's been a long gen. buy it.
I'm playing an old classic that not a lot of people liked, but I'm playing Mafia 3 right now, and I'm totally love the game. I don't know why, it's just a great game, and it rains and it's got fake screen space reflection puddles everywhere, and the resolution isn't that nice on some of that stuff, but like I don't care. The game looks beautiful. Screen space reflections have actually impressed me quite a bit as I play games. I look at that and I go, wow, look at how they made that look like it was actually reflecting. I know they're faking it. It looks phenomenal.
I had ray tracing on my PC version of Control. I didn't know it was on or not. So I used photo mode. And then you know, there's little, what do you call those little physics balls that I don't know what they call them. I zoomed into that. I could see my reflection. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And like I had to go and look into like that. And I thought, I'm such an idiot, man. Like I was thinking really hyping it up, but it's like a placebo effect, really. Screen space.
It's not placebo. It's not
placebo. It's like you think it's on, but it's not. With COD
it's subtle.
Warfare, it's very subtle. It's so subtle. Sometimes you question whether it's on or not.
And it's not always accurate, but usually it looks right enough for your mind to think, hey, that's great. That's working. Another thing that we do, I hope you guys do this as well. I'll walk into a game and go into the bathroom mirror, and they usually mirror, right? Ever notice that the bathroom mirror is always like totally dirty or cracked?
Yeah.
It's post-apocalyptic. So I love like going into over by a mirror inside of a house or a reflective surface, and I go, oh, they're not going to give me that, so there's no reflection. Most games don't let you. There's very few where you walk in and go, oh, the reflection's here.
Yeah. No, I'm in Control when you do see a reflection, and then the physics, you know, the particles going and just crawling my PC down. I got 2017. He's just dying and struggling, but it looks cool. And I'm like, yeah, okay. That kind of goes counter to everything I said about frame rate, but it was just it seemed like a gimmick, and I think I wanted to raise that up. Let's just switch it up from something a little bit less technical. Let's talk about the marketing campaign on the run up to next gen. Like, Microsoft, so we got this in our videos. Everyone's like, Microsoft their campaign, they need to be a lot more aggressive. We did a montage, we're kind of showing more gameplay. Who is winning this marketing campaign, like in terms of PlayStation? Are you seeing more ads on, from Sony side, or is it Microsoft that's winning the hearts and minds of gamers? Because they've got a lot of goodwill going. Okay, let me just throw some shade out there. You got Microsoft finally have undone 7 years of shite with their policies, crap console, bad marketing,
That's not shade, man. That's the truth. I mean, they stumbled and they fixed almost everything. Yeah, no, it's the truth.
It is, and it's now that the script has flipped. Now you've got PlayStation $70 games. You can't take your peripherals forward. Although I know
95 in Poland.
95 in Poland, so basically you need to like get mortgages to buy games now. And you've got Game Pass that's doing ridiculous things that people are asking whether or not it's sustainable or not. You've got more transparency between the two companies. You've got more hands-on with the two companies. And I can ream off so many things. Yet, do you think the general public and chat? I know you guys are cool gamers. We're all cool gamers. We feel that. But do you think that's having a discernible effect? Because the poll came out recently, I think with 500 people. They said 70% of Americans are still looking to, 70% of the 500 people that they did the survey said they were still getting a PlayStation. And that shocked me. I thought, hold on, that can't be right.
Did you see that survey there?
There was something wrong about these numbers. Like, like if you count everything, it's equated to like 160%. So not,
It was 500 people, and it's very dependent on where that poll was released to or how it was released. I never heard of it before. And of course, 500 people, if they put that poll out and one person like me shared it, it would be 99% Xbox.
That's a good point.
That's true.
I have friends with like 300 followers that can get 4,000 votes on a poll on Twitter. So
that's because you blocked the people that like PlayStation, right? I've heard.
By the way, shout out to the 370 viewers that have joined us. Thank you so much I'm reading all your chats. I'm trying to manage both, but no, I think I just want to bring that up because a lot of people are celebrating. Well, hold on, that's not changed anything.
I think
I think there's a seismic shift for next year. I think Xbox are going to catch up. To me, Xbox winning is them beating PlayStation in the US and the UK. Is that a fair thing to say, or is that not the final thing? Ace is smirking.
Well,
at me. Tell me, Ace.
I'm not smirking at you. Mo's got something to say, so don't go to me.
No,
go to Mo.
thanks, man. No, I don't think it's just gonna have to be the UK and the US. Xbox is pretty much, if you I've talked to Archimedes and a couple of people who live in overseas in Europe. Xbox has been pretty non-existent in Europe for a long time. I mean, they didn't really make a big push over there besides the UK itself. So, I mean, Archimedes tells me he's been to GameStop once and there wasn't a single Xbox console inside or any games available because it didn't have that big of a marketing push over there.
Yeah.
So the one thing is we shouldn't let everything, all the goodwill that we're seeing right now, and Microsoft deserves all of it. I think we also need to be practical as well, because despite the fact of all Sony's stumblings that they've done and all the how they're trying to glue it together now, they're still a bigger global brand. We're talking about global brand in terms of money, they still are, and what's happening now with Microsoft, they have, man, I've talked about this so many times, they're such geniuses with the way that they've shifted the entire marketing strategy completely. Because they looked at what happened this generation and they're like, okay, we're not going to play the same game that they're going to. Why are we going to keep doing catch up? Why don't we shift the market? Why don't we change it up and for the better? And the reason why I say that is because now every single thing that you're seeing is judged on whether it is pro-consumer or not. Everything that Sony comes out with now, no matter what it is, whether it's backwards compatibility, hardware backwards compatibility with your controllers, cross-gen saves, upgrades on the games, all this stuff has garnered so much goodwill with so many gamers around the world that now they're looking at that and they're just like, oh, okay, well, everything is being judged on that. So you really got to give them a massive ton of credit for the way that they've maneuvered this all into their favor. Now, do I personally, because I'm trying to be practical, do I expect them to sell a lot more consoles this generation? Yeah, absolutely, I do. I give zero shits. No, Microsoft. Yeah. And the good thing is because I haven't seen this much excitement for an Xbox console since the 360. This is incredible. Okay, I mean, and this is great to see it because their messaging has been working. Everything they've been doing has been working. So I think it's too early right now to, despite all the shitty things that Sony's doing, at the end of the day, I still think these are corporations. It's about growth. It's always about growth. Was Sony the first one out the gates to increase their games to $70? Yeah. Will Microsoft do it initially? No. Will they do it eventually? It could possibly happen. This could be the
most
standard.
likely.
Yeah, I mean, because I do think all these things are going to happen moving forward. But in terms of this, I mean, it will definitely be very interesting to see, because despite all the things, Sony is not getting away with the things that they used to now, because the game has changed, and the game has changed because of the goodwill. Yeah, at least I think so.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey,
everyone, that's
listen.
reminded me, do like and let's try and get it to 200 and share it out and spread the night. Look at such good conversations we're having. Sorry, Madz.
I'll hit the
Yeah,
mic.
I mean, like Mo was talking about the Archimedes and the fact that he's from Europe. I'm from Europe as well, Poland, right? So and like just to give you an idea how bad it was with Xbox, like a couple of years ago, and how it is right now. Like, I got Xbox One, original Xbox One day one, right? Which was in 2014. Yeah. Because in Poland, they didn't launch this console officially until like 2014, like a year later, right? Obviously things has changed, and obviously everything is going like in right direction and stuff, right? They are better with support and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But so it's not like, here in Poland, we don't see Xbox on the store shelves and stuff. Like wherever you go to any electronic stores, there's plenty of Xbox consoles out there, plenty of games. I mean, that has been sorted, right? Yeah. Generally speaking, like PlayStation is doing better job in selling PlayStation because for example, things like local game localization is better and that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. But what I think is going to be a game changer, at least in like here in Poland, and I'm hearing from a number of people already, even PlayStation owners, that they may actually get an Xbox are game prices, and the fact that Microsoft is going to have all their first party and a lot of third party games day one or later in terms of third party in Game Pass for literally $10, right? And like, if you consider the fact that like one new game, a PlayStation 5 game here in Poland is going to cost me $95 almost.
That's insane.
That's like crazy, man. Like $10 per month for access to over like 200 games, like EA access, if you pay a little bit more, versus almost like 40 zlotys versus 350 zlotys, right?
Yeah,
it's like that. And people are really like saying that, like, what the hell Sony is doing? Like, who's going to be paying for these games?
Yeah,
like, I think that Game Pass is going to be a huge game changer, and I already seen a lot of PlayStation guys basically saying that they pre-ordered Xbox Series S just for exclusives, right? And for these Bethesda games and that kind of stuff, right? So I think that's going to be a huge, there will be a huge shift towards Xbox next generation, in my opinion.
I think so too. I think that you touched upon the Series S being a master touch, because now it's it's a gateway console, like a gateway drug for the PlayStation fans, and they can play their Xbox Game Pass games.
It is. He's right.
It's true.
It absolutely is, man. Yeah.
It's like, hey, the first one's free. Don't worry, it's free. Come on.
I think the Darge fan club want to hear him talk, but make them subscribe to the channel first and then ask him a question.
I've had to turn the chat off and everything because this is like proper stuttering, and then someone's just texted me and said I'm getting slagged off in the chat, so I can't see it. So I don't know what's happening.
We can hear you fine though. Darge, I do want to get your perspective on this, because I think you said you're primarily an Xbox fan, but let's be honest, man. Me and you, we don't chat shit. Yeah, Xbox got their shit.
Xbox at the start of the last generation, they fucked themselves up with price. They fucked themselves up with Connect. Yeah, and they fucked themselves up with the game sharing. Yeah. They gave Sony the biggest of head starts after the 360 era, where they've done really well anyway. Yeah. So they're already on the back foot. But in hindsight of that now, Phil Spencer's been putting all the pieces in place since 2017. The Power Crown, Game Pass, everything else, Bethesda acquisitions, all the studios they've acquired. The start of the next generation now is more closer than ever, like in regards to a start off. They got no excuse. Like people say, the Halo delay. Yeah, all right, there's no excuse for that. Yeah, but all the other acquisitions, they need time, but they're there. Like the games are coming. You know what I mean? They're not maybe coming, they're coming. So all the trolls who are like, fucking 69s and all that one, like Obsidian, Bethesda, they're not, we're not bringing shit to the table no more. Like they're proper games, proper power, proper services, proper network, proper. So it's going to be decent next gen.
Do you reckon though? Do you reckon that Xbox will win it, or what do you reckon?
Look, mate, winning. Like according to some radicals, there's many different criteria to winning. You win on sales, you win on Metascore, you win on this, you win on that. Yeah, we will know soon enough if Xbox are back at the table, because they'll be selling out.
Yeah.
Guys,
you know what I mean? So there's many different scoring systems.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's always gonna be software. I'm sorry. I want you guys to. It's always gonna be software. Yeah.
For me, it's all I care about is Digital Foundry comparisons, because I don't play games.
Exposed.
No, I know it is all about the games, but Darge is right. Everyone's got different metrics, so you can't just like say, well, who's the winner, because people are going to change the goalposts to shift their own or suit their own narrative. But yeah, I don't give a shit, man. I'm looking forward to this Digital Foundry, and I know, Dealer, you watching this, you're watching that shit too. The Digital Foundry comparison is going to be the real source, but the games, it's ultimately the games. And as Darge said, Xbox fucked up last gen of this gen. Next gen is going to be a whole different ball game. I think it's going to be one of the best, if not the best gens ever in gaming, because of the competition is so stiff. And Gunstar says, Darge, preach. He didn't say anything for like a good 1 hour, but when he did, he just spit some hot fire.
I was scared. I was scared to say anything. Now I'm just going to say it. If you don't hear it, fuck you. Like, I'll just say it once. If you don't hear it, that's your loss.
That's what the people need.
That's your lot.
They need the unfiltered truth from you, Darge. Which then goes on to the next topic, and I would like to get your opinion on this as well, Darge. But before, let me just speak to the others before you're gonna smash us in the head with your facts. Okay, this is slightly controversial. In chat, you guys let us know what you think. I know a lot of these guys will probably come in from the Colt family as well, so they might be a little bit biased. But Xbox Studios versus PlayStation Studios, have they now attained parity through this Bethesda acquisition? Because let me ream out the names of these Sony studios. Do not underestimate the power of PlayStation, is my point. Naughty Dog, come on, The Last of Us, Uncharted. Guerrilla Games, they're shit Killzone games, but then they did, sorry, Chris Grinnell, but then you had Horizon Zero Dawn, Insomniac, Ratchet, Insomniac are carrying PS5 with Ratchet and Spider-Man. Sucker Punch, we got Ghosts of Tsushima, Media Molecule, they did Dreams, which is amazing tech, although it's not something I've played. Studio Santa Monica, next year, I suspect it will be delayed. God of War, Polyphony, with Gran Turismo, although Forza took the crown there. But these are big, big names. Are you telling me, Colt, be honest, man, Bethesda acquisition, Microsoft Studio...
No, I'm not going to be... No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Do you Amar says, respect Darge, you've already got a massive fan following in one fell swoop. Colt, do you think the competition is now neck and neck? Who do you think has the better studios? What do you think we will see next gen? Xbox delivering better games? I know it's a bit like you're being Mystic Meg and looking into a crystal ball, but based on the studios, who has the better studio?
I like looking into the crystal ball. When you read that off, I think about how strong those PlayStation studios are. I feel like Xbox is getting really, really close. And I don't mean getting closer. I feel like they're really, really getting close because Obsidian and Playground and Turn 10 and all the Bethesda takes, like, that's a big deal. And no one ever thought Xbox could ever be even close to what PlayStation was doing. PlayStation added Insomniac, which is huge. Those are some of my favorite studios. So I really feel like Xbox is coming into next generation with an arsenal that is very close to what PlayStation has built up and had for a long time. Yes. So I think looking into the crystal ball, we're going to see some big surprises. And where Xbox brought in some 70 rated games on average for most of their offering, I think you're going to see a lot of really great rated and industry moving games from Xbox for the first time in a long time, because I actually think the 360 wasn't as great as people think they remember. They had several Gears games, several Forza games, several Halo games. Some of their other games that were exclusive you will never see them again. So they aren't as memorable and they are not as enduring. So I'm really excited about what Game Studios has going forward, because I think they're actually going to really push PlayStation to continue to work as hard as they have.
But you don't think they've attained parity yet? You're still edging the PlayStation out in terms of the better studios. Yeah,
Leon in the chat says, "How dare you not say Ninja Theory?" I can't. I mean, there's 23 studios. I can't think of. I can't give them props off the top of my head. They're really amazing. Now I have my doubts about 343. If Halo Infinite doesn't, sit in the mid 80s meta, and of course it'll sell like crazy.
It doesn't need to be mid-80s, Cole. I say I put this forward right now, Bonnie Ross, if you're listening, it has to be 90 to justify all the shit we put through. Anything less than 90, it's not good.
Yeah, so I'll bounce off what you just said. If they don't deliver that quality, high-rated Halo Infinite game, I think that somebody should help them and bring it to id Tech 6.
Yeah, use the bloody id Tech engine, because they know how to build engines. Saucy Tag says, thank you for the £10 super chat. Yo, Darge, up for a drink sometime. He's got celebrity status instantly. I don't know, some guy called Saucy Tangs.
I'm down whenever, man.
He is down. Yeah.
It's really hard to say that Xbox is going to have a better studio set than PlayStation, because they've been tried and true.
Yeah.
and people say that Xbox isn't proven, but dealer in the chat was saying like those legendary IPs, like the next Wolfenstein 3, which might come out next holiday, which might be a surprise release or come out just after next holiday.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein 3, the next Doom game, the next Fallout 5, Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6.
Jeez,
And then
it's a crazy
you
game.
got Fable and Avowed and Hellblade 2. Like,
Where's the PlayStation on this? Come on, man. That's already
it is
smashed.
absolutely huge. It is absolutely huge, and people aren't ready. So I can't stand up and say they're going to kill it and they're going to stomp PlayStation. I just think that, like you said earlier, the competition for this next generation, it's going to be probably the best generation we've seen in a long time, because Xbox is all in right now. PlayStation already is set up and ready to go.
And it's all in because of Phil Spencer, by the way. If anyone doesn't know this, Satya Nadella asked Phil Spencer, Microsoft doesn't need to be in the gaming space. Phil Spencer said, no, if we're going to be here, we have to go all in. People need to know that. Godstar says, saucy hands off, Darge is all his. Amazing. Madz, you're the technical bod, but I'd like to get your opinion on the state of the two studios, PlayStation and Xbox. Who do you think will reign supreme? Who has the better studios now?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, are we talking about quality of the games or quantity of games? Because like when it comes to quantity, obviously, they've got more studios because by the way, we're talking about 23 studios, but like, most of these studios have like 2 teams working on separate projects, right? So in reality, I've heard some people saying that it's about 35, teams working on like projects. So that's a lot of games. Yeah. And obviously, like, I think with so many teams, there will be some gems, right? That will like pop out of nowhere. Right. I mean, not from out of nowhere. I mean, we know, that these studios are very capable and stuff. Yeah. And I'm sure that some of these studios will have like a cult status and that kind of stuff. But like, there's no denying that like PlayStation studios are great, right? I mean, like you said, Naughty Dog, Santa Monica, etc., etc. And like, remember, like, Insomniac, right? They are pumping hit after hit, Guerrilla Games with another Horizon game. And I know for a fact that there's like a Sony studio that they haven't officially revealed. They are apparently working on Uncharted games, apparently, right? Yeah. So there's Sony will have more studios as well, and I'm sure that they will buy some in the future. So I think it will have to be on a game by game basis, I guess, right? And like, I'm sure that Microsoft will be able to compete way better than last gen, or should I say even ever, because they never had so many great studios.
Yeah.
But like, listen, at the same time, like if you think about like Obsidian, if you think about Ninja Theory and a couple of other studios, they are fully capable of delivering like, these, great experiences, just like Sony studios as well, right? Yeah. But,
Can I, Darge, can you just very quickly, before people start like asking Colt on to dates, can you just kill your camera and come back on? Just had a little swap of nameplates.
Stop the video and come back.
Yeah.
I see what happened.
So,
I'll just start using an accent.
I just want to just to piggyback off of Madz and Colt here. Yeah. I do agree with both of you guys, and the studio, all these studio acquisitions now, I mean, yeah, you could definitely say they're almost there or they're in parity for sure. But the thing is I was talking to Luke, Insipid Ghost, a couple weeks ago on our podcast, Xbox Expansion Pass host, and he himself was saying, he's like, all these studio acquisitions are wonderful and whatnot, but at the end of the day, what will start changing these conversations is games.
Yeah.
We need to see that. He said, and I really agreed with him, because he said, let's just say we were talking about the initiative, right? Yeah. Superstar team, all this talent, all this incredible talent, lots of hype behind what they're going to do. So what we need is that game to start that conversation. The game that's just like, whoa, okay, this is what's going on with it. I love all the acquisitions with Bethesda and Doom and all this stuff and whatever, but these were just brought into the family, right? Yeah. So if we're gonna go by pedigree, the pedigree is different, right? Going forward, that's what's going to be interesting. If we're just going off of the past, then no. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter how you feel about whether you like PlayStation games or not. They were hits. You know, whether we liked it or not, they were hits. So going forward is what's going to be interesting. And that's where the parity I see is going to be. Because moving forward now, it's an even playing field. You know, so we talked about all the studios Sony has and all the hits that they've come out with, and whatever else they're going to come out with as well. But now is so interesting because this is going to be the first time where they're both going into next gen
neck
and neck, and it's just like, all right, you got your shit, we got our shit. Let's play it on the table and let's see what happens.
What I see
That's
being
really
a
what's
problem
interesting.
here. So I agree with you that there's going to be this parity. Microsoft are going to have games that people have to play. Sony are going to have games that people have to play. And the problem there is that that equation massively favors Microsoft because people will, particularly hardcore gamers, so I would think everyone on this panel, most of the people that would take the time to come and listen to us talk about games are going to own both consoles. Microsoft's console is going to become, it's got the power, it's got Game Pass, it's going to be the one that people buy the games for, I think.
Yeah.
So people will own both, people will play the first party games from both. But Sony are at massive risk of Microsoft taking the third party just by being a more friendly ecosystem, and that will hurt them massively.
Oh yeah, no,
That's
I could definitely
Yeah,
see that.
that's a very interesting one, especially with the Xbox Series S and its lower price of entry. Then you've got Game Pass running on, as dealer says, toasters and all sorts. Then yeah, I mean, it's you're right. Actually, there's a good point on third parties kind of wowing gamers into the Xbox ecosystem. Dodge, good old Dodge. Xbox Studios versus PlayStation Studios. Go on, be raw. Tell us who.
Well, when you and they're great. They're great. Do you know what I mean? They're well reviewed. It's well-known fact they're great studios. But when you ratted off all those names earlier of all those studios, I just wrote down third-person story-driven. Right, 'cause that's what they're the king at. So, but it's no shade. That's fact. Yeah, they're the king of that. Yeah. But then if you look at Xbox, they've got first person, they've got RPG, they've got racing, they've got everything else. But like Mo said, this time, when the next gen starts, the cards are getting thrown out, and then we'll see what happens. But like everyone else says, this is a good thing with Game Pass, because you only pay one monthly sub, and you're getting all those games for free. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting all those games for free. I still think like Sony, because of what they've done, they're still like top dog, but Microsoft and Xbox are just prime now. Like they're ready to go. When this next gen goes, it's going to take time, like because of the Halo delay and that. But when it goes, like when they were saying before, they wanted to have, I can't remember, did they say they wanted to have 4 first party games a year or something, or every quarter, or
yeah, they've said a couple of different things. They've said that they want to have a like three or four AAA games each year,
they'll be in a great position to do that. And not just any AAA, great AAA games. So this generation's going to be great, whatever side you go.
I agree with Dodge. He touches on a good point about the variety of the games. They're all third person forest walking simulators. No, you didn't say that, but the variety is insane.
Apart from Gran Turismo.
Yeah, Gran Turismo, but Forza, that's been the king of races for a while. You know, the variety. I mentioned this on the RDX podcast. The variety is there. You got Flight Simulator. Then you've got third-person story-driven games like Hellblade. Then you've got racing games. I hope they bring back Killer Instinct. You've got RPGs. Xbox is home now. Western RPGs anyway. And then you've got first-person shooters, and you've got Bethesda's whole suite of games. It's like, what genre? Real-time strategies. It's the variety is there, and Darge is right, man. Variety coupled with the volume, like Mad was saying, are you talking quality or quantity? I'm saying both.
Can I say one more thing, really, just quickly?
Of course.
Because like we are focusing on like first-party content, obviously, like those Naughty Dogs and stuff. But we cannot really forget about the fact that PlayStation has like great relationships with a number of publishers.
Yeah, so they do.
good example is that the Demon Souls, right? Like that's not a typical PlayStation game, I would say, right? I mean, because it's like a different genre a little bit, like. But like they've got like personas and that kind of stuff, right? So there is more to it, but like not. But we would have to look outside first party. But exclusive wise, I mean, there's like a lot of variety on PlayStation as well. So we cannot forget that.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. And that's really and just one more thing, just off of what Darge was saying earlier. It's yeah, man, because all these acquisitions now are an indication that these guys just are not fucking around anymore.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and now the studios that they acquired a couple years ago, all the projects that they're working on, now we can consider that home brewing. This is all they're brewing all this stuff, and it's all homegrown. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry.
Mad
homegrown. Now it's all being brewed in these studios that they've acquired for a couple of years, and that's homegrown stuff.
And the cross-pollination between the studios.
This is what we want to see. We don't, because look, having Doom Eternal on Game Pass and owned by Xbox is fucking amazing. Let's not lie to each other, right? But to me, like, I don't consider that. It's an Xbox by association now. It's an Xbox game by association. It's all this stuff moving forward. This is why I said moving forward is what's going to determine who the king will be in terms of software.
Exactly.
So
that's well said. You're right though. Moving forward, that association, Doom and Master Chief in the same family, Halo and Quake, and both my biggest games. It's insane. I think Xbox is. Everyone's gonna sound like I'm like a massive fanboy. What? I don't give a shit anymore.
Oh, Gaz, you're not massive.
Shut up, Gaz.
Too late. That's too late.
It's too late now. Gaz, you're such a fanboy. Well, it comes from a position of fuck it. Anyway, I think we've hit all the topics, and it's been a really great topics. Everyone in chat, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, don't run away though, because as this closes off, you will see the fantastic montage that we put out. So don't drop off just because we're closing out.
Yeah, no, just stay in touch.
Hey, we didn't talk about the back and pat communication, did we today? I know we did pre-show and we said save. Did we bring that up during the show?
The back and pat what? Sorry?
About how PlayStation just announced it yesterday?
Do you know, it's been 2 hours. It's a long time. I can't remember, but I suspect you have something to say. Give it to us.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Wait. I'm intrigued now. What do you mean?
Let's do it, because Crypto C in the chat is calling what I said a lie. Just so you guys know, everyone was aware, and the media was well aware, that PlayStation had communicated that they would provide at least 100 at launch back and pat PS4 games, and no support for PS3 or PS2 or PS1 games. They also said that the overwhelming majority of the PS4 games would be back and pat on the PS5, but they did not say when, and they did not say how long, or they did not say if it would be at launch.
Yeah.
So as a PlayStation 5 soon-to-be owner with my full paid pre-order, I was under the impression, as well as everyone else, that we did not know what the state of back and pat was for the PS4 games that we own until PlayStation spoke up.
Yeah.
Now, Xbox had said that all of your games are coming forward. We stopped working on 360 games, so you're getting everything that's already supported, plus all of the Xbox games, except for Kinect games at launch.
Yeah.
So we knew they were ahead of them. That was the whole conversation we talked about earlier, about how Xbox put their best foot forward, which is back and pat. PlayStation was putting forward their launch titles.
Yeah.
So now when they finally said that they have everything ready for launch, people are coming after Xbox guys who said that they didn't confirm that. And then they're using the word lie. You lied to me. I feel betrayed, like my girlfriend lied to me. So yeah, it's just I've seen it a lot, and
it's
I
bullshit,
just wanted to.
I just want to say that it's bullshit. I've been seeing that. I'm seeing you kind of fight fight that on Twitter and stuff. But what do you want us to do when Sony has been so paralytic in its messaging? You want us to go ahead and go out and make giant leaps for them and then say it? Especially, this doesn't operate in a vacuum. There's a competition going on.
Yeah.
You remember how Xbox One versus PS4 happened. You remember Shuhei Yoshida showing games. Now the script is flipped. And we are well within our rights to lambast one company for being completely cryptic, like someone said.
Well, PlayStation's back and pat wasn't ready. That's why we heard about it just recently. They've just now got it locked down, and it's not locked down because not everything's working. Like CryptoC's saying that Mark Cerny said himself back during the deep dive. No, he didn't. He said they're working on it. If you have stuff ready or you're confident that your product is ready for launch, you say it. They said nothing for months. So the entire industry, everybody on social media, YouTubers, you name it, we're all saying, we don't know what the status is for Back and Pat. And so that's where it was. So when I found out that Back and Pat was ready, I put out a tweet saying, this is awesome. This is what we were looking for. The word launched. Here it is. It didn't even come in their blog. It came in a tweet an hour later. So
exactly. Yeah.
So this is my biggest point is this is really good. This is a good thing. PlayStation cares about your legacy of what you paid for throughout the past generation. And if you're on PS4, Xbox One, you bought a lot of digital games than probably you ever had before. So this is really good news. Enjoy the hobby. Don't worry about the drama. You're not in console Superior War Court. You don't have to bang the gavel. Like, it's okay. We all got good news yesterday. And can I get an amen from the chat?
Amen.
There you go.
I think the problem, there was just a lot of confusion, despite the fact that, you guys are all right. They hadn't said shit up until yesterday, but before they did say that a majority of the PS4 games are to BC, and they did say that the top 100 are going to get boosted, right, from the hardware, from the architecture. But obviously, we still don't know what the top 100 are. We're kind of like guessing it now, just off of God of War and Ghost of Tsushima and Bloodborne, which has not been confirmed. But I think there was a lot of confusion about the fact that a lot of people were under the impression, unless they were trolling, a lot of people were under the impression that only 100 games are coming to backwards compatibility initially, right? That's what I had seen over the past few months. So I think that's where a lot of the conversation and the confusion was up until they clarified it yesterday.
Do you know, I was on
I think it would have been pretty stupid if it was only.
Cryptopsy, you're in the chat. You've been taking L's and you're still not taking it with any pride. Just swallow the L, take some water, just take it, man.
He asked what he won. I'm like, you won a bunch of games you already bought. Like, you get access to those. Like, you win. It's awesome.
Take the L. Take the L. Sorry, Asa.
I was just going to say, from the initial statements that were vague and kind of open to interpretation, I was under the impression that that PlayStation 4 games would work, but the messaging was definitely unclear. And it was only about 2 weeks ago that Eurogamer said that it was only going to be that 100, and you don't get much more respectable a website than Eurogamer, so they were misled. Don't think you can blame.
Well, I mean, that's what they were told. There was wording that they would have at least 100 games ready for launch.
Yeah.
And they also said that they'd have 100 games boosted. So, okay, I work in communications. So for my regular job, so I understand that
you have a regular job. Sorry.
How much money do you need?
What?
So when you're trying to communicate something that you're doing, you just say it. Like PlayStation would have said a few months ago. Even I believe that PlayStation knew they could provide every PS4 game, but I also believe they didn't know when. So all of the messaging this entire spring and summer and part of the fall has been very vague to make sure that they had everything in order. Right now, they are worried about we talked about this earlier in the show or pre-show, that Asa and I agree that there aren't going to be very many games that don't work properly. That's going to be an outlying problem. Not a big deal. It probably won't. It'll be something that'll get patched before people start complaining. Not a big deal. But whatever it wasn't ready, and you don't speak unless you know you can deliver. And so I think they had to wait until all the ducks are in a row, and that's why the blog post and the tweets went out yesterday.
Exactly. You don't want us. You want us to make giant leaps on behalf of Sony when they've been completely mute. It's not going to happen. So
I mean,
don't
we also can't give them the benefit of the doubt when they have been here and there with back compat. They offered back compat with the PS3, and then as soon as they could make the console cheaper, they ripped the capability out by taking the hardware out of the PS3 and selling you a PS3 that wouldn't do back compat. Exactly. So you just have to kind of err on the side of caution. What's going to happen? I bought a few $100s worth of PS4 games this generation. Which ones do I get? I didn't know until yesterday.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, the standard's been there. You know, we'd be silly to give them, you know, the benefit of the doubt there because they've done it before. Like, what else can you? I don't know how this guy's dominated the chat, but yeah, it's nonsense. But it's been an interesting talk though, particularly on the backwards compat and the messaging, and it speaks to the strength of messaging. It's so funny now to me that it's PlayStation doing what Xbox One was doing at the start of the gen, where we were guessing. I mean, we still to this day don't know what this whole family sharing digital stuff was planned out to be years ago. And you know, it's like it's Sony need to kind of ramp it up. I'm still surprised that they're still a bit asleep. We're not far off on launch, a month away. So come on, everyone needs to show a little bit more, but PlayStation definitely more so. Thank you everyone in chat. Just want to wrap it up. I'm going to do some outros just because we've got such great guests. And thank you everyone, mostly for being really good and being nice, like Colt said in chat.
That was not nice.
Oh yeah, that one dude has got to take a massive L delivered to his chest. Moeqawama, I just made myself laugh there. Moeqawama, thank you so much. I'm so glad we finally got to you know, defy destiny and do this together.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. This was great. Amazing panel. It's been a pleasure, guys. All of you.
And can you just tell everyone what you're playing right now and where can they find you?
I just finished Mafia Definitive Edition, and it was amazing. I played the original on the Xbox, and this one was just great. So I think it's a very, very good linear palette cleanser for anybody that's looking for something like that. I'm starting Crash 4. I'm kind of checked out on this gen, to be honest with you. I'm just playing a lot of multiplayer games right now, just to kind of guide me over. But where you can find me is I have a podcast with my partner in crime, Machine Gun Mike. It's called The Backlog Chronicles. We talk about Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. So yeah, definitely look us up, and I hope you guys like it.
No, absolutely. I'm sure they will. You have great views. Madz, when you're not inside the Matrix, where can people find you? And thank you again. You've been lovely in the group. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate the invite and stuff, right? Yeah, I enjoyed the panel. I enjoyed the conversation and stuff, right? You know, it was really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, if you really want to find me, you can find me on YouTube, Madz Gaming. You know, I do daily videos, like gaming videos, and yeah, on Twitter, Madz Gaming PL, so you can find me there. So like I said, thanks a lot for the invite. Really appreciate that. Great show.
No, absolutely. Darge, people now are desperate, gagging to find you. They want your phone numbers. They want to take you out on dates.
I swear, I've sent you a video of what I've had to deal with for the last fucking 2 hours of this buttery speech. Yeah, but I'm just going to say my thing, even if it stutters, and it's the one take. Yeah, so I'm a part-time YouTuber. Don't even bother looking for that channel at the minute because I've got to redo that. I'm a full-time troll on Twitter at Darge Knight. Playing Mafia Remastered a bit, really like it. Yeah, and hopefully thanks for having me, and thanks for the other panel as well, like Colt. I talked to Colt a lot, you know what I mean? And the other guys are cool. It was a good chat. But yeah, this weren't the best of me. This weren't the best of the unfiltered,
you did all right, man. People love you. You spoke 3 times. People will love you.
But we're going to get this internet sorted out, and I'm coming back, and we're going to bring the fire with us next time.
It's going to be a sick one, and you're going to be in a video with us very soon. I'm not going to say too much about that, but that video is going to be fucking sick. Last but not least, Colt, I mean, people don't even need to know who you are because you are the internet as far as the Xbox gaming is concerned. But do tell us, for the few ignorant ones, where can they find your eminence?
Ignorant? That's not nice. Yeah, I'm Colteastwood. You can find me at Colteastwood on Twitter and YouTube. and I better get to work on a video. It's been crazy. All the news has been absolutely nuts this year. I'm really excited. I'm with Mo. I'm checked out on this current generation. I'm playing Mafia 3 after finishing Mafia Definitive Edition, and I just kind of want to just hold out until the new consoles get here.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Absolutely. And yes, thank you everyone in chat. You've been lovely. Panel members, absolutely great convo. I could have this for hours. Love you. Looper, thank you for holding it down. You are the best. Assassin Looper is absolute legendary. I really owe her one. And thank you everyone. Do stick around because we got the dankest Xbox trailer you've ever seen. Microsoft, just hire us to do your job for you. Thank you so much. We love you. Peace.
See ya.
But what about my outro? That's fine. Bye, everyone.
From dust.